Let's first understand some fundamentals, friends, and then we get into the detail, and we will do some exercise today. If you want, you can log in from two systems if you want to parallelly practice, and if you want to practice it later on, that is, purely your choice.
Okay.
So let's start with the data visualization in Tableau. Now let's first understand what is data visualization. Let's first understand the concept of data visualization, why it is important. So visualization actually allow us, uh, visual access to huge amount of data, which is easily digestible. Because many of us also would be from an analytics background, and we are doing a lot of analytics. Sometimes we think that everyone understands analytics, and people who understand analytics, for them it is easier to see data and make sense of it. But other people, other stakeholder in the organization may not be able to digest large amount of data, and therefore we need some sort of visualization so that it is easier for people to digest the data and easy to for them to understand. That's the basic premise why the visualizations are used. Many a time, even as analysts, large amount of data when we are absorbing, it is not easy for us to make sense of it. But when we start using some visualization tools, it becomes much easier. uh, and at the same time, it can tell, it can communicate what you really want to communicate in a very powerful manner. Let me take you through this very interesting chart. And this is also will explain you a little more simplistically how the journey of data is. If you look at the first building block in this, which is collecting data from various data sources, because data could be available in various sources. Data could be available on your website, on your HRMS systems, or on your customer feedbacks, on market research data. It could be available. Some data could be secondary data, some could be macroeconomic data. So data could be available in various forms. How do you collect all this data, integrate it, integrate it and process it so that analytics can be performed? Okay, which is the first leg of the overall journey, and this is largely done by data scientists. And if you, some of you have studied some parts of data science, and some of you also want to be a full stack data scientist, the first element of it, which is the first block of it, this particular one, is all about collecting, integrating, and processing the data so that analytics can be done on it, so that the data can be analyzed. Now, when we go into the phase of analytics, analytics is all about better decision making to solve our problems. Analytics is used so that we are able to make better decision to solve a particular problem. Now, there are various maturity model, right from collecting data, preparing data, which is called feature engineering, then doing descriptive analytics, inferential and predictive analytics through various tests and models, so that we are able to understand what is happening, why something is happening with respect to the problem, how it is happening, and more interestingly, what may and what could happen in future. Now, once we have analyzed, we are able to make better decisions. Now, although we are ready to make better decisions, we also have to involve other stakeholders. So, and some of you have also done our HR analytics program and business analytics program. So you understand this piece of it. You've understood in that program very well, which is about finding out what is happening, why it is happening, and what may happen in future using predictive analytics and various modeling techniques is analytics. Now, once you have analyzed it, and you are able to draw better conclusion, you have to involve other stakeholders and influence other stakeholders also. Because the success of every manager or every professional is able to align other stakeholders with facts, and deeper insights into your analysis. Now, everyone is not an analyst, and everyone does not understand data the way analysts can. And that is where the visualization, which is the third leg of it, comes into play. That how do you convert these insights that you are drawing and present it in a manner so that people are able to see it, process it, digest it, and be able to draw the right conclusion and make better decisions. That part is called visualization. So there are three parts to it, and sometimes these can be used overlappingly. Some parts of analysis you can do it in visualization, some part of visualization you can do it in analytics, some part of data science you can bring in. So these are not hard-coded boundaries, but very broadly speaking, it is broken into data science, analysis, and visualization. And once the person understands all three of it, in a normal language, we call them as full stack data analysts or full stack data scientists. So this is predominantly the stack. Let me just pause here and see if you have any questions thus far. Now, let's look at what is the importance of visualization. Now, let's look at these 4 data tables, which are there in front of you on the screen. Now, this is the 2 group X and Y. And there are 4 sets of, each set containing values of X and values of Y. These are 11 values of X and 11 values of Y in each of these sets. If you look at the average score of X in each set is 9, and the average score of Y in each set is 7.5. So their average, if you look at averages, you may say that all the 4 sets of X and Y are behaving similarly. Now, if I put it into visualization, if I put the same data into visualization, the 4 sets, which is on the right hand side, I've converted this table into visualization. This will start telling you a very different story. Because the relationship between, although the average relationship is very clear, 9 versus 7.5, but if you look at their individual set relationship is very different. If you look at first set, what kind of relationship it is having? We may say that it is having a linear correlation, but not a very strong linear correlation. So it's a positive linear weak correlation, but there is a linear correlation. If you look at these dots, there is very clearly a linear correlation, but it is scattered, which means it's a positive, so you can see the direction, but it's weak. It's not very strong. Correct? If you look at the second one, which is a curved relationship, again positive, not fully linear, it is curved. If you look at the third set, it is a strong positive linear correlation with one outlier. Correct? If you look at the third set, it is very strong positive correlation with one outlier. Visually we can see it. If you now look at the fourth set, again there is one outlier, okay, which is on the extreme right. But otherwise, the relationship is very unique. Why it is unique? Because the value of X is static and only the value of Y is varying. Value of X is static and the value of Y is varying. Now, these four sets, once you look at it, you can easily see that they are very different sets. They have nothing in common. They're very different sets and behaving very differently, although all 4 sets has the same average value. And that is where, visualization power really comes in. So that, if you will try to explain the same thing that I've explained to you, just let's imagine that you are trying to explain something, exactly the same thing that I've explained to you, without these 4 charts. It will be very difficult to explain. Secondly, this is only 11 items. You can still try to explain someone from the tables. But if instead of these 11, these are 11,000, it will be practically impossible for someone to understand what you're saying. Although you can have analytical tools which will tell you this, but unless you show the right visualization, people will not understand. Okay? And sometimes even you may not understand without these proper visualization that what is happening with respect to the problem. There is another element called as visual perception. When you're doing a storytelling, now these 2 sets, if you look at the 2 tables, they're actually the same numbers. They're actually the same number. But what is happening on the below table or the below presentation?
Some numbers are in bold.
Correct. And which numbers are in bold?
5.
Number 5 is bold, sir.
You can easily draw the attention of the audience to a particular point that you are making. That is another element of visualization. That how will you, and this is called as visual perception. When you are showing a data set, you automatically are, I never said anything to you, but your attention automatically went to 5. Why? Because it is visually highlighted in a manner to bring your focus to 5, although there are so many digits. Okay? This particular element of visualization is called as visual perception. Okay? Then there is another element of visual perception is to make it a little more interesting. Say, for example, let's take these sales figures. So these are sales numbers for quarter-on-quarter contribution of sales figures over the last 3 years of 2014, 15, and 16. Now, if you look at this, generally we will make pie charts because we want to see the contribution of a whole. But as soon as I change this to a slightly more different, because, someone will see and it will take a little longer for someone to really understand these data points and these numbers. But if I change this to a presentation like this, automatically it starts talking a lot more. You bring life to what you're trying to communicate. What I've just done is I've done 2 things. I've put it into a bar so that quarters can be compared and each of the year in each quarter can be compared. So it will tell us that quarter 1 is generally the best quarter, followed by quarter 2, and quarter 3 and quarter 4 are relatively lower and similar. But quarter 1 is distinctly higher in each year. Yeah. And at the same time, it is telling that in quarter 1, 2015 was the best and 14 was the lowest. So it is comparing each quarter. At the same time, it is comparing quarters of each year. So when you have to compare you have to communicate multiple things at the same time, you can use the right visuals to make that impact. And some of this we are going to study as well in detail. Okay, clear so far?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now let's get on to Tableau. Okay, so you will have an icon like this on the desktop Tableau. Depending on, you are on a public or desktop, I am on the desktop. It may be a little different, but don't worry, broadly it will be similar. So once you open, if you have worked on certain sheets, they will be present here. Otherwise, this area may look blank to you, which is fine. Don't worry about it. What is important for you is the right-hand side section of yours, which says connect. Are you able to see connect? Now, here, this is where you connect to files, and Tableau will offer you a lot of options. You can connect to Tableau server. You can bring in a file from Excel, text, JSON, PDF, Microsoft Access, whichever file you want to bring in. And you can also connect to various servers. You can connect to your SQL server, MySQL server, Oracle, or any of the servers. So it gives you a large variety to choose from. You can bring in data from various sources. It could be static or dynamic in nature. So once you bring that in, let us take one case to guide us through this. Just give me a second. Okay, so I will just send you one Excel file, and this is the most common being used in various trainings, which is this case of a superstore. 1 second. Yeah, I've just sent the file. You can just download this file. It's called superstore.xls. You can launch your Tableau and just download this file on your desktop right now. And I will explain you one by one. Okay, so you are on this. So you just click, suppose you have an XLS file to bring in, just click on Microsoft Excel. You can get it, say, wherever your file is kept, Superstore, and click on this. As soon as you click, let me just explain you a few things here. Okay. First, look at this connection part. Here, you will see this connection written as Superstore, which means it's a Microsoft file, Superstore, through which the server, this Tableau is connected right now. Okay. After that, if you look at this part, it says Sheets, which means it is saying the Excel file that you are working on contains the following sheets: budget, detail orders, order summary, people, and returns. So these are the various sheets in Excel that are there. Okay, and I will just take you through this Excel file also in a bit. Just remember that these are a database of a Superstore, and these are the 5 sheets it is having, which is budget, detail orders, order summary, people, and returns. Now at the top, you will see Superstore, which is the name of the file that is open right now. Now, most of the stuff, the beauty of Tableau is just drag, drop, click, drag. It works as simple as that. Now, let me bring in, so now if you'll see, this is the area on which the data is presented. And this is the section in which you can bring in the files from here. So let us try one. Let me bring the order summary. Just click it and drag it into this section and drop it here. As soon as you will drop it, you will see the top section changing. If you read the header now, it says order summary bracket Superstore, which means now you are working on sheet called order summary from the file Superstore. Okay. This file has, this sheet is showing here as order summary, and at the bottom you will see the columns and the rows of the sheet. Okay. Which says order ID, ship mode, city, state, region, order date, and sales. And you can see, a lot of order ID, ship mode, city, states, region, order ID, and sales. Okay. Now, on top of that, you will see some symbols: ABC, globe, calendar, hash. Now let's understand what is this. Okay. So I'm just stop sharing the screen for a minute and go back to our presentation. Is it clear till here? Are you able to reach to this stage? If you're doing it
Yes,
parallelly.
sir.
Okay, sounds great. Praveen, are you able to reach till here? Atulya?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now let me just stop sharing and explain you the terminology of Tableau in terms of data. So Tableau data types are 6. Okay. First is Boolean, which is true or false, which is a binary data. True or false. It will always be indicated as with this sign, true, false. So this is the icon that you will see there. This is how Tableau is reading the data. Then there could be date format, okay, which is, say for example, December 31st, 2016. It is a date format, and it will be shown as icon of a calendar. Now there could be date and time format, which means in the column there is date as well as time, which is generally used in timestamp. If you are working on, say, clock in, clock out time, so it has time and a date. Whenever you work on timestamps, you will see there is a calendar along with the clock. Then there are numerical values, which is denoted as hash, and then there are text values, or which are categorical values, which are denoted as ABC. It could be departments, it could be type of product name that you have, it could be categories. So all that categorical data will go into text values. And then there is geographical values, which is indicated by globe. The geographical values which are indicated as globe. So this is how the icons Tableau will use to identify what kind of data the Tableau is reading. Sometimes Tableau may read it wrongly. You have an option to manually correct it. If suppose there is a numerical data which it is reading as categorical data, or vice versa, you can change it. You can say, no, this is not a categorical data, this is numerical data. So you can change the categories. Sometimes it may not read something as a geographical data, it may read as text, say name of the cities. It may start reading as text and not reading as just a geographical data. You can change it into geographical data. Clear? Let's jump onto Tableau again. So this is the data that we are dealing with. Now to start working on this data, so you have seen this data, but where is this kept? Okay. So you will see at the bottom, you will see sheet 1, which says go to worksheet. You can see sheet 1 at the bottom highlighted in orange on my screen, bottom left. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
If I click on this, you come to this layout. Now let me explain you this layout first. Let me explain you the nitty-gritties of this layout. The top thing, which is right after the top menu of date, file, date, worksheet, there is this particular section which is called toolbar. Just give me a second. This particular section is called as toolbar. Okay. The extreme left-hand side section is called as data pane. extreme right-hand side section, which is this part, is called as data pane. Sorry for making the wrong line. So this is data pane. Now the section right at the bottom is called as workspace. This particular section is called as workspace. All your sheets will come up here. This particular section where marks is written is called as marks card. This is called as marks card. And I will also, share one slide with you, which will give you this. And once you start working on it, it becomes much easier also. Now, the area right at the middle, the large part of area, is called as canvas. This particular entire section is called the canvas. It is blank right now. And this particular area which says rows and columns is called as row and column sleeves. Called as rows and column sleeves. So are you now clear? And then there is analytics part here. So this is the data tab and this is the analytics tab. So let's understand these areas again. The top area is toolbar. Then there is data pane on the left. At the bottom, it is workspace. This part is toolbar. Then there is data pane, which is this. Workspace. Marks card. Canvas, the large part here, and finally rows and column sleeves. Okay. And once we start using it, it becomes very intuitive any which ways. Now what I'm going to do is, let me explain you a few important things before then we will, we'll try to solve one simple case so that you start getting used to all these things. Now let's first understand few elements of what we are seeing on the screen. Is my screen visible properly? You want me to increase the font a little bit? Let me just see.
It's visible, sir.
Oh, visible. Okay.
It's okay, sir.
Okay, fine. So and if you're parallelly seeing on your system, I think it will be, easier as well. Let me just try to see if I can do something. Because I'm on the screen share, right? No problem. Now you will see where the table is mentioned, tables. Okay. You will see these variables. You will see all, if you hover on these, the above one are in blue color. And when you hover, it also is in blue color. And there is a line in between. And all the things that are below the line are in green color. Now, Tableau always differentiate, and all that in blue color is called as dimensions. Yeah. All that is mentioned there is called dimensions, which is in blue color. And all that is mentioned in green color are called measures. And there is a partition line in between. There is a partition line you will see here. Let me just mark it. You will see a line here. This line separates dimensions and measures. So what are dimensions? Dimensions are basically categorical data, okay, which are either written in the form of text, or it could be name of cities, order IDs, things like that, which are there. Okay. And at the bottom are all numerical data, which Tableau feels that it is that is there to measure something which is in the form of numbers. It could be continuous or whole, which it is categorizing under numerical data and calling it measures, which could be sales figures, order summaries, measure values, and things like that. Okay. Now what we will do is we will try to solve a simple case. Before that, what we are going to do, we will spend about 10 minutes to understand what visualization fits best in which kind of scenarios. What visualization fits best in which kind of scenarios, which will also be available. You know, if you look at these marks card and if you say there is an option called as automatic. If you press this drop down, you will see there are various kind of charts and bars you can choose from. You can choose from various kind of charts and bars. It also has an option called as show me on the right hand side. On the right top, there is a show me button. If you click that, here again, right now, you know, there is nothing highlighted. Otherwise, it will get highlighted. It will give you a suggestion that the data that you are working with can be best suited for what kind of charts and plots can be used for it. And if you hover around these charts and plots under the show me button, at the bottom, you will see a few things changing in the same show me tab, which is saying that this kind of chart, say for example, I stop on this chart. It is saying it is for lines discrete, best suited for one date variable, 0 or more dimensions, and 1 or more measures. So this is the minimum data required if you are planning to go for this kind of a chart or plot. So it is very nicely suggesting as well, saying that what kind of visualization you can use. And once you pull in the data, it also highlights that you can use out of these, you know, 23, 24 options available, which 4 or 5 can you use for a particular data set. Okay, and we will see all that in live. Before that, let's spend about 10 minutes to understand what are the best practices on, because this is one question that a lot of people have in mind. What are the best charts and plots that can be used, and what are the best suited situations for them? So let's look at that. So from visualization, you have the following options that are available in Tableau, which you can use. One is called as bar graphs. Bar graphs are best suited, and I will also give you one master card which will tell you, you know, which to use when. So, you know, first let's understand the type, and then we'll see where it can be used best. So there are bar graphs where, you know, it has bars. Then there is line graph. Many of this you will already know. Then there is something called as dual axis graph. So there are bars and there are lines. Dual axis graphs can be on both the axes, there could be bars, on both the axes, there could be lines, and it can have the various combinations of it. This is called as heat map. Heat map basically is also used to show the intensity. Along with the number, it is also used to show the intensity. The basic rule is, you know, darker the color, higher the value, lighter the color, lower the value, or you can even reverse the order. This is called as tree map, which gives you a visual representation of portion as well as intensity. You know, bigger the, you know, these, and these are also called as mosaic charts. The bigger the tile, the bigger the value, darker the tile, higher the value. So bigger the tile, bigger the proportion of the whole, and higher the value, darker the color becomes. So these are called as tree maps. I missed the graphs. Yeah. So there are, you know, maps are best used for geographical graphs, and then there are area graphs where you can shadow the area so that you are able to see the volume between the two areas. So area graphs are covered. This is covered. So some of the most common visualization that people use are bar graphs. They are best used when you are working with dimensions and is discontinuous. Line graphs are best in continuous dimensions. Dual axis graph, and once you see this in action, it becomes much easier. Dual axis graphs used to represent two measures together. You can be measuring height and weight of a human being, and you can measure it on the two axes, and you want to see it together. Geographical graphs are best used to measure any data on a geographical map. Area graphs provide better comparison amongst measures. Then there are heat maps I've explained to you, and the tree maps. If you want to see what are the best selection, I will just share this particular slide with you, which I found it very interesting. It's slightly complicated, but very interesting. It gives you a very good choice of when you are working with, you have to show relationships between variables. What should you use? You can use scatter plot and bubble charts. When you are using comparison, you want to show comparison and not relationships. You can see whether you want to show comparison amongst various items, or you want to show comparison over a period of time. If you want to show it over a period of time, then there are many periods or few periods, and you can make the choice of those graphs. So you can go through it. Similarly, if you want to show distribution, whether you should use a histogram, whether you should use a column histogram or a line histogram, or you should use a scatter plot. Again, you can make these choices. If you're showing composition, okay, then you are showing composition changing over time, or you're showing the static composition. And you can make further decision tree to say which are the best charts and plots that can be used. So this I found it very interesting when you are in the initial, because once you start practicing, you will get to know which is the which will visually appeal better. But at the initial stages, this can be a very good guiding tool for you to make a decision of. See, one is visualization, which should look beautiful, but it should also make a lot of sense. And to make sense, these are the most preferred way of visualizing. Yeah. And Praveen himself has spent a lot of time in visualizations on various tools. So you can connect with him as well. When you are working, because he has spent a lot of time on management decision making. Okay, so on that, what we are going to do is, before you start any visualization activity, which we are not going to practice today, today I will show you more guided thing, but first define what is your objective, why you're doing this visualization, glance through the data that you're dealing with, and then begin the visualization. Don't start the visualization unless objective is clear in your mind, what you want to show. And unless you have gone through the data on your own, glanced at, okay, fine, what are the columns, so that while visualizing, you are able to pull out the right variables. Okay. All right. So what we are going to do is, we'll not do rent space today, but we can do superstore. Okay. So what I will do is, I will start. Suppose there is a situation that you have been called by your manager, and your manager has asked to make a report which can address following questions for us. So these questions, I will put it into the WhatsApp chat so that we can able to refer it simultaneously. I will just put it in the tab here. On the group, I have put few points. So your manager has called you, and he is saying that I want, why don't you just make a report whereby we are able to address some of these key business questions. Clear, friends? Okay. So let's try to solve it one by one. So it's a very, it's a beginning. So we will go slow so that you are able to, and I will go at a pace so that if you want to do it simultaneously, you do it simultaneously. And at any stage, if you want me to stop, okay, because if you are left behind or you're not getting any of the item properly, you just unmute yourself and say, "I'll just stop. I'm trying to do this." So first one is region-wise sales. So region-wise sales. So what I've done is I picked up the region and put it into columns. And I picked up sales and put it into rows. Automatically, you will see the show me column has come alive. Some of the things which were hidden earlier are now highlighted. Now, why it has converted into a bar chart? Because in the marks card, we have kept it at automatic. You can, if I go to this right now, it is showing sum of sales. If you look at the header here, it is saying sum of sales. You can use the drop down. As soon as you click this drop down, you will see there are various options here, and we will go through each of these options later on. First, let's use this one where it says measure as sum. You can change this measure from sum. If you want to keep it as average, it will change it to average sales in the region. Okay, average order size. You can change it to median. You can use any of the statistical tools. We will bring it back to sum because that is what we actually want. What is the sales done by each region? Likewise, if you want to change the type of this chart, instead of bar chart, if you want to use any other, you can select from this particular drop down. Suppose you want to make a line chart, you can change it to line chart. You want to make a bar chart, you can go back to bar chart. You want to make a pie chart or bubble chart, whichever chart you want to create, it will give you that option. You can also select from the show me button at the right hand side. If I go back to, let me go back to vertical bars. So right now, it has gone into horizontal bars because it has switched the rows and columns. It has switched rows into columns. So it has brought region into rows and sales into column. I can take it back. Sales into rows and region into columns. You can try out various stuff the way it suits you because it's a simple drag and drop. Now, it is also written, management want to see region-wise sales bar chart with colors. But what do you mean by bar chart with colors? Well, let's understand the color functionality. Now, there are two variables here. What are the two variables? There is a region and there is sales. Okay. Now, depending on how you want to see it, you can color accordingly. Okay. Like if you know in Excel, you have to manually change the color. Yes, Praveen, your question?
Yes, sir. So in that, if I want, yes, you told me that we can make out some median or average.
Yeah.
So from where I can see the average because I am unable to find out that thing.
Okay.
From where I can find out the average?
Yes. So you go to
yes,
where you have written.
I am able to do.
If you click on this, you go to measure. Are you able to go to measure?
Actually,
it's not in your this thing. Okay,
just this icon is not.
Share your screen. Share your screen. I'll help you. Just share your screen.
Just this thing. Are you able to see, sir?
Yeah. Okay, no problem. Go to analysis in the
So
top
in this,
menu. No problem. Go to no, not this analysis. Analysis in the top ribbon, top menu. Yeah,
okay,
analysis. Uh, where it is written aggregate measures, just uncheck that for a minute. Okay, just go back to aggregates. Okay. You are there, it is showing measure value. Okay, no problem. Where in the below the marks card, you have measure value below the marks card.
yes,
Yeah, just go to that drop down in sales. No,
yes,
not
sir.
in the sales. Yeah, sum of sales. Yeah, here you are
Yes.
getting it. Measure sum. You go to measure. Here you can
Okay,
change.
okay, okay. Thank you. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Because sometimes there could be a small variation between public and the licensed version. Okay.
Got it,
Let
sir.
me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, colors is very important element because you remember visual perception. What you want to show? There are two things that I can show here. If I now color is part of the visual perception. What you want to highlight? Suppose I say, if I put region and drag it into colors, in the marks there is an option called colors. I just pick up region and drag it into the box of colors. Now you will see there are every region has got a unique color. Okay. Now I can also change this color palette. In the marks card, you will see the colors icon and next to it, it is written region. I can, I can go to the colors icon in the marks card, click there and it will change, give you option of edit colors. If you go to edit colors, there is something called automatic. And if I drop down on automatic, there are various color palettes that you can choose from. You know, and it purely depend on your taste, brand colors, and things like that. And it is very well thought through in terms of what color palette you want to use. Okay, this you can definitely should try it out by changing the colors and things like that. Other thing that you can do in colors is you can change the opacity because some organization like brighter and more objective colors. Some people want to mellow it down, so you can change the opacity of these color palettes depending on how you want to play with it. Again, with border, can make it automatic or you can change the colors of the borders on these bar charts. That is purely your visual preferences, the way you want. The other thing that I want to show is, suppose you don't want to show colors for different region, but you want to use your sales figures into colors. See how it will change. Now I remove region wise color and the other variable that I had of sales. I pick up the sales and drop it into colors. Now you'll see what has changed. Here, it has given the intensity of sales with colors. The highest sales region has the darkest color and the lowest sales region has the lightest color. So it has brought color to represent which one is highest and which one is lowest. Now this is purely your choice. What visualization you want to give? You want to give sales as coloring or you want to give region as coloring? At the same time, you will see on the right hand side, there is a new menu got created of sales color coding. So it is giving you a range and how it is to be read. This is also mobile. You can just pick up this if you want and bring it below the marks card. so that your canvas is wide open. Okay. If I remove this sales from colors and bring the region back, you will see on the right hand side, and if I bring it below the marks card, the colors legend is available. That what represent which colors. Clear so far?
Yes, sir.
Any questions still here,
Yes,
friends? Prashant, how it is going for you? Atulya, how is it going for you?
Sir, it is good, sir.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, Praveen, you have a question?
No, sir, it's good.
Okay, fine. Now let's look at labels. Now, what is the use of a label? Now, we will come to size. So you can go to the next option called size. So you can play with this. If I go to size, it gives me whether I want, what is the size of these bars I want to have. I can broaden them. I can narrow them, depending on what will look better from, because every organization, every management has their own preferences and styles. So you can, and some charts may look, suppose you don't want to keep any gap between these bars, you can fill it up. You can broaden them to fill this up. Or, you can reduce the size of these bars. And the same application of colors, size, labels that I'm telling you will be hold true for all type of charts and bars that we are going to use. So these logics will not change. Now coming to labels. Now in labels, what I want to label. Suppose I want to label these bars with exact numbers. What I will do, I will bring sales and drop it into the box of labels. You will see there is a number above each bar, exact number. So there is, although there is an axis on the left hand side, but now there is a number on top of each bar. Suppose I also want to have region. I can bring region also and bring into labels. So that's purely your choice whether you want it or you don't want it. Now what I've done, if you see, region was written below the number. What I've done, I have put region above the number. By changing in the marks card, their sequencing. Suppose I want to have region below the number. I just pick up the region from here and drop it below the number. So against each of the element, any visualization changes that you are doing is part of your marks card. It says that I am used region into colors. I have used sum of sales and region into labels. You can modify these labels. If you click on labels, it will tell you text, font, and alignment of these labels. Now suppose, let me just click on text. It says the first one is, so whenever it is between the less than and greater than sign, which means it is picking up from your variable. If you want to modify it, if you want to write your own text before this, suppose I want to write, say, a $sign here. Okay? Before sum of sales, and I say apply. Sorry. Now, if I just add, say, $, because it is going a little longer, and just to show you example. Now, before the number, it has added a $sign. Now suppose I also want to, in front of region name, I also want to write, say, R and colon. And if I say okay, it says dollar. If I look at the Western region, it says $7254858, and below region colon West. So you can also modify this. This is what you want to write as your own text here. So this is how you can edit the labels basis how you want to do it. You can change their fonts and you can change their alignment. All three can be done. Uh, and then there are more options, like you want to have max min, you want to highlight something. All those options are possible, which slowly we will, as we go ahead in the program, we will try it. Right now, I'm just giving you some fundamentals of how each of these boxes is to be used. If I remove show mark label, if I uncheck it, it has removed it. If I bring it back, it has come back. Okay. Clear so far? Any questions? So we have added the labels, we have put the colors. Now, let's go to the second point that the management has asked us to do, which is they want to see state-wise sales on a map. They want to see state-wise sales on a map. But here we have made one chart already. Now we want to make another chart, which is a map. Okay. So what you will do, at the bottom menu, there is a plus sign here of a new sheet. You will see a new worksheet icon, which is next to sheet 1. So what I can do is I can change the name of the sheet 1 first, which is region wise I'm just naming it as region sales. Then I add one more sheet here. So a new canvas has opened. New canvas has opened. In that, state-wise sales is expected. What I will do is I will pick up states and throw it onto the canvas. Now, since state is a geographical data, it has highlighted here. I can just pick it up and throw it on the canvas. It will open up a world map for us. But there is nothing mentioned here. Although we have put in the states from our data, nothing is getting mentioned here. Click OK. And it has all of a sudden picked up these states in the United States. But I don't want to see these states. I know that these are the states in the United States, because what I've done is I've only put the states and put it onto the map. But I don't want this. What I want is state-wise sales to be shown on the map. So what should I do? Anyone want to answer? What should I do? So right now we have put states on the map. What should we do next?
You can put the sales figure.
Where should I put the sales figures?
In this marks.
No, we should also put the sales figures onto the map, because we want to see sales on the map. Okay, so let's try it. We pick up sales and also throw the sales figures on the map. Now you will see something has happened here. Are you seeing what has happened? Some of these states are having dots and some of the states are not having dots, and even the dot size is different. And there is a new legend which got created on the right hand side. Because we have kept it on automatic, each of, and if I hover on this, it says California sales figures is 457,688.